Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to take a look at Pokémon Card 151. You see, when this set was revealed, I told you that this could be the best set ever. And predictably, I got a bunch of people accusing me of clickbait and all that rubbish, don't really care. Because for me, the reason why this looked like one of the best sets ever was because I've got so much Gen 1 nostalgia. Because I was around when, I played Pokemon Blue 2 days before release, and I put hundreds of hours into that game. I was around when the base set came out, and I annoyed my parents because I spent pretty much all the money my aunt had been saving for me for my entire life on the base set. I've been around since Gen 1 came out. So for me, personally, this looked like it could legit be the best set ever, because it's a full Gen 1 themed set with all 151 original Pokemon. It looked cool. Here's the thing though. Since then, we've actually had a whole bunch of reveals from Pokemon Card 151. We've seen a bunch of cards that are coming, and even if you ignore the theme of the set and how cool the set is in general, and I'm not, just to be clear, I think it's amazing, even if you ignore all of that, this is a set that looks really good. Like, for comparison's sake, if we go and have a look at Pokemon Go, as an example, there were basically 3 cards from Pokemon Go that made a competitive splash. Now, I'm not saying they're the only ones that were ever played, I'm saying they're the ones that actually saw a decent amount of play and made a big difference, and that was the Snorlax with Block, to stop them retreating. It's been used in a bunch of decks. Radiant Charizard, which has kind of been a deck in and of itself, and Pokestop, which is used to get items. I know other cards from Pokemon Go have seen play, but my point is that in terms of actually making a significant impact on the metagame, they are the 3. Now, the weird one for me was Celebrations. Celebrations was supposed to be a gimmick set. That was kind of the whole point, right? That was what was supposed to be the case. And yet, with Celebrations, we saw Mew being a really good starter in a bunch of decks. We saw Zacian come second at 2 different international championships. We saw Flying Pikachu win the World Championships. We saw Eviltown being a great tech in a bunch of decks. We've seen Kyogre be a good tech in a bunch of decks. And we even saw Surfing Pikachu seeing a bunch of play at a big tournament over in Japan. That is 8 cards, I'm counting the V and V Max as separate cards, out of 25 that were legitimately playable. And I think Pokemon Card 151 is looking like it could take, I don't want to say the record set by Celebrations, but I don't know, maybe that phrasing will do, and blow it out of the water. Now, I'm not saying all of these cards from Pokemon Card 151 are guaranteed to be good. That is not my point, and that is not what I'm saying. I am saying some of these I am absolutely convinced are going to be great. Some of them are probably going to be disappointing, but they all have a lot of potential, and I want you to realize that I'm making this video before a bunch of cards have been revealed. And there might be more great cards coming down the line. You have been warned. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there are 2 Pokemon in the set right now that really jump out ahead of the others, one of which is Mew EX. Mew EX is borderline broken. Mew EX is absolutely stunning. Because Mew EX has the ability that says once during your turn, you can draw until you've got 3 cards in your hand. That's amazing. And it's not limited to once during your turn, you can use multiple Mew. And you've got free retreat. And you've got an attack that for free colorless energy lets you copy your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. And it doesn't say you need the correct energy, which means you don't need the correct energy. So, good draw power, free retreat, really useful attack that can copy anything. Mew EX could be legit busted. The other one that looks like it might be legitimately busted is Ditto. Ditto looks absolutely ridiculous. Because Ditto, now it can only be used on your first turn, which is a little bit of a pain. But what Ditto basically says is that you can search your deck for any basic Pokemon and swap it with Ditto, and then Ditto goes into the discard. But it basically means you can now play 8 of your preferred starter, and sure, after turn 1 you can't swap Ditto for them, but on turn 1 you totally can, it means that your chances of starting with a Pokemon you want to start with is massively, massively increased, and I expect this to be a staple in a whole bunch of decks. I'm also a really big fan of Zapdos. I think Zapdos could be really, really good here as well. Now, Zapdos is just a lightning type attacker. It's not going to be a deck in and of itself, but it's got an ability that gives it free retreat when there's lightning energy attached. And then for free energy, you deal 120 plus 90 to any Pokemon that's already got damage counters on it. That is going to be great for taking out multiple little Pokemon, or doing damage while finishing off a damaged Pokemon on the bench, etc, etc. And because this is a lightning type Pokemon, we know we've got Electric Generator, which will allow you to accelerate the energy. And actually in Miraidon decks, and bearing in mind Miraidon will be able to search this out quite nicely, because it's a basic lightning Pokemon, I'm not saying this is going to be a staple in Miraidon decks. I think we need to, let the format sort itself out. But I do think it stands a legitimate chance, and that's kind of my point. Now, they're the 3 I'm really bullish on, but there's a whole bunch of others which I think have big potential as well. So, we've got a Clefable here, which lets you take an extra prize if your opponent's active is knocked out by damage from this attack. And bearing in mind, at the moment, not only have we got Gardevoir that can accelerate energy quite nicely to Psychic Pokemon, but we've also got Reversal Energy, which will literally count as all free energy in one if you're behind on prizes. Which is clearly ridiculous. So, sure, it's only 50 damage, although, to be fair, we do have Defiant Band, which will bring it up to 80, which is quite nice. But the fact that it's a stage 1 for like a single energy, this is awesome. I am a genuinely big fan of this. I think this is very, very cool. And again, I can't promise this is going to see a ridiculous amount of play, alright? All I can do is just give you my opinion. But my opinion is that this could be really, 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 really good. At least in the right decks. Although, to be fair, if you really want to cheat prizes, don't forget we've got Chansey coming in this particular set. Now, Chansey's a little bit of a mouthful, but basically Chansey says if you draw it as a face-down prize, and your bench isn't full, you can bench it, flip a coin if heads, you take an extra prize card. Please do remember that we have Peonia, and Peonia will basically let you pick up free prizes and put other cards down in their place, knowing where the other cards are. So, and no one's corrected me yet, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. If I am wrong, please let me know in the comments. But I'm pretty sure you can just use Peonia to, if you've got Chansey in hand, of course, kind of guarantee that you then get this down. And then that's kind of amazing. So, yeah. This is another one which could end up being rubbish, could end up being something and nothing, but there is at least a bunch of potential here. We've got Jinx and Hypno that together can literally KO anything. Jinx has got an attack whereby if the defending Pokemon is asleep for free energy, 1 water, 2 colorless, instant KO. And Hypno, when you evolve into it, you put your opponent's active to sleep. So put them to sleep with Hypno, instant KO on anything with Jinx. Bearing in mind, we do have Baxcalibur to accelerate water energy if we so wish. And yeah, once again, not guaranteeing they're great, could be awesome. Blastoise EX is actually sneaky, potentially very, very good here. Now, it is a stage 2, and that must be borne in mind. I've told you it's a stage 2. But it's got 330 HP, an ability that says it takes 30 less damage from attacks, so that's essentially 360 to 1-hit KO, which is not going to happen often at all. And for 2 water energy, you discard up to 2 basic water from your hand, dealing 140 for each one you discarded in this way. That's 280 for 2 energy on a Pokemon which is just not getting KO'd. Please remember that Chen Power is a thing, and that will let you search out your water energy extremely easily, so getting the water energy in hand for Blastoise really shouldn't be an issue. And then we've got Alakazam EX, which can legit just attack from the bench. It can literally attack when it's on the bench. And it's not the biggest attack ever, don't get me wrong, but it's still 2 energy 120. It's not terrible. And because you can attack from the bench, this absolutely opens up Klefki, which is blocking abilities in the active. So essentially you just sit behind a Klefki, get your Alakazam on the bench and just sit there kind of wrecking your opponent while you hide behind a Klefki and keep their abilities turned off. That kind of sounds like fun. Only basic Pokemon, but still, that could be pretty cool. Now, getting out of the ones which I think are great and these are ones which are a bit more gimmicky, but they could be really fun, there is an Aerodactyl coming. Now, it's a stage 1, but it is a stage 1 that evolves from a fossil, so you need to bear that in mind. But for just 2 energy, which is really not that much, you get to deal 100 damage and get rid of the top evolution card on that Pokemon. Which means if they've got 100 or less HP, they're instantly KO'd. This will KO a Gardevoir. Now, you'll only actually take 1 prize, because you'll technically KO in a Routes if they used Rare Candy or a Curlier if they didn't, but this will legit KO for 2 energy, something like a Gardevoir, and it's for colorless energy. This might make it worth mucking about with fossils, because this could be awesome. We've got an Onix coming that can do just phenomenally big damage. Now, this one is right up my alley, but I will admit it is a little bit gimmicky. For 2 energy, not that much, you discard the top 5 cards of your deck, and then every Pokemon with a retreat cost of exactly 4 you discarded in this way, you deal 80 damage. That's potentially up to 400 damage. Now, it's an awkward deck to make and it's a bit gimmicky, but tell me that could not be fun. And then we've got Raichu. Now, the attack is free energy 180, 50 to itself, not great. But the ability says when one of your Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, you may move a lightning energy from that Pokemon to this Pokemon. So essentially, the way Raichu works is you leave it on the bench, a couple of KOs come down, and this essentially becomes a free attacker. These Pokemon are way better than they have any right to be, given that this is supposed to be kind of a bit of a Gen 1 celebration set. We weren't really looking for this to be some big competitive set, but that's kind of the way it seems to be working out here, which is awesome. And to be fair, there's a bunch of trainers as well. We've got Erica's Invitation, lets you find a basic Pokemon in your opponent's hand, pop it on their bench and switch it to the active. So if they're trying to keep a basic Pokemon in hand so that, you can't KO it, you can literally bench it and bring it active and KO it, so now their annoying tech cards can't even be kept in their hand. You know this one's going to see a bunch of play. We've seen Cycling Road that lets either player during their turn discard a basic energy from their hand and draw a card. Again, this isn't some kind of game-breaking card, but tell me this isn't going to see play for decks that want energy in the discard like, I don't know, Gardevoir? Yeah, this is guaranteed to see play. We've got Big Balloon coming, which is a tooled card that will give free retreat to stage 2s. And sure, it only gives a free retreat to stage 2s, I grant you. But it's still free retreat. Stage 2 decks are going to love it. And then Bill's Transfer to let you look at the top 8 cards of your deck and grab as many Pokemon as you like. Again, it's not going to be a card which is for every deck. That's not the point. That's not what Bill's Transfer is supposed to do. What it is, however, is a card which is going to be phenomenal in a whole bunch of different decks for getting all of your Pokemon out and getting rolling. And that's the point here, ladies and gentlemen. That's the point. And once again, we haven't had all of the cards revealed. Annoyingly, I'm recording this on Thursday, but it's not going to go up until at least Friday. So there might be new cards that are revealed over the weekend. If they are, I'm going to whack them in here. But we've got here a whole bunch of very good cards with a whole bunch of reveals still to come. There are cards that have got abilities that we don't know about yet. There are EXs coming that we've not seen yet. There could be better cards coming, and that's kind of ridiculous. We've already got 3 cards, 4, 5. We've already got at least 5 cards, which I am absolutely certain will see play. They are the Pokemon Mew EX Ditto and Zapdos. And then the trainer cards, Erica's Invitation and Cycling Road. I don't think they're the only ones that are going to see play, but of those 5, 4 of them are guaranteed, and Zapdos, I feel, is very likely. And then we got all the other cards. This is actually shaping up to be a legitimately good set competitively, which is preposterous given the kind of set it is. Although, when we look at percentage, it's not going to beat Celebrations now, is it? Never mind. Although, I do need to add on here, I forgot a couple of cards. The first couple of trainer cards that were revealed for this set I completely forgot about, and that includes a tool card that I absolutely despise. It's Safety Goggles. It takes away weakness and basic Pokemon. I really hate it. And then Giovanni's Charisma, that lets you take an energy off of your opponent's active Pokemon to their hand, and then attach one from your hand to your active Pokemon. Giovanni's Charisma I could see in play, but I think Safety Goggles is going to see play. And yeah, apparently 2 more cards I didn't even mention yet. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about Pokemon Card 151. I want to know, there we go, if you are as excited for the set as I am. I want to know anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join the Discord, all kinds of fun things. And of course, get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Mike, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to Mike for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.